Ladies and gentlemen, Pamela Boateng from the University of Ghana.
Of course, I'm coming all the way from Ghana, and in Ghana we say akwaba. That is to say, welcome. It's quite easy to say, right? Can I hear you say akwaba? Certainly. And Mashilo, where are you coming from?
Mashilo Picheng. I'm just a neighbor, they know. And in my neighborhood, we've got 12 official languages. I can't do sign language, but I can only give you one. I can say Dumela.
Dumela.
Dumela. Abshane. Huemore. Good morning. Sanbonani. Mbatironi. I can do 7. If I go on, we're going to be here the whole afternoon.
But hey, we cannot, go without acknowledging the Zambian language. In Zambia, we say Malobwanji. Ah, definitely. And it's certainly beautiful to be here. And that's the beauty of Africa. One thing unites us. It's a language, and it brings us together as a people. And we are very excited this morning to be your compares for this 23rd annual conference happening right here. Now, over the next few days, be informed that we'll engage in very insightful discussions. We'll also exchange ideas. We'll explore opportunities that will also redefine our industry.
No, I know they say at conferences you must switch off your cell phone. For just this minute, we want you to do a little exercise.
Yeah.
For those that have Twitter, go to Twitter. For those that have Instagram, go to Instagram. And for those that have whatever social media we have, go there.
TikTok, yeah.
Go there.
We want to be on TikTok as well.
Go there, go there, go there. You see these lovely people here. You see this lovely stage here. Just take a picture. I want to see those phones up. Take a picture. Nice picture.
It's a selfie moment. This is a selfie moment.
Selfie moment. Just take a picture. Gel us down, man. Gel us down. Take a picture. Take a picture.
Just take a picture with your friends, colleagues.
Take a picture. Take a picture.
A new network you've just made.
So here's the hashtag. And we're going to all do it at once. This is how you make something trend, right?
Yeah.
You're going to say hashtag Afres 2024. Then you're going to do the next hashtag. It will be hashtag smart cities.
Absolutely.
Then once you've done that, tag whatever organization you are from. If you're from ZIVS, tag ZIVS. If they don't have a social media, go talk to them. This is 2024. If you are from SEC PVP, tag SEC PVP. Yeah. If you are from whatever organizations, UJ, Afres itself.
Absolutely, Afres.
And Safres. Tag that organization and post. When we get off the stage, after I introduce the first speakers, I'm going to check if you have done it. There's an award for the person who tweets, likes the most. I won't tell you what's that there.
Friends, ladies and gentlemen, it is our honor to welcome onto the platform Professor Chioma Okoro, Safres Chair and host. She is an associate professor at the University of Johannesburg. Please, we can do it better for her.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. Good morning. As they introduced me, I'm Prof. Chioma Okoro, an associate professor at the University of Johannesburg, College of Business and Economics, Department of Finance and Investment Management. Welcome to Livingstone. Welcome. Welcome to Zambia's tourist capital, home of the Victoria Falls. I am pleased to welcome you to the 23rd Annual Conference at AGM. I am honored and moved by the overwhelming response to our call. With over 350 registrations and 120 abstracts or paper submissions. Thank you for the commitment to Afres and for joining us at this beautiful location. The African Real Estate Society, Afres, is a continent-wide organization that seeks to promote networking, research and education among property professionals and academics across Africa. Academia and industry professionals come together to discuss innovative ideas and solutions to real estate problems. The real estate sector is trying to keep up with advancements. Hence, the theme of this year's conference, Smart Cities in Africa for the 21st Century. The buildings of the future are smart, energy efficient, interconnected, and environmentally friendly. Our keynote and parallel session presentations will touch on these and more. Enhanced need to ensure that Africa is left behind and the real estate sector is sustained, we gather to share experiences, best practices, and possible solutions to challenges in the planning, development, and management of smart cities. I encourage you to maximize this opportunity to network, share your ideas, impart knowledge, and learn from others. Alone, I did not stand. I had the most amazing support and sounding boards. The saying that two good heads are better than one rang true throughout. Mr. Christopher Mui, thank you for the championship on ground and constant reassurance. Thank you to all our sponsors, Platinum, Gold, Silver, and Bronze, for the generous support. This would not have been possible without you. Henley Business School, University of Reading. International Real Estate Business School, IREPS Foundation for African Real Estate Research. Office of the Valuer General, South Africa. Global Property and Facilities International Limited, GPFI. The National Pension Scheme Authority, Zambia. College of Business and Economics and the Finance and Investment Management Department at the University of Johannesburg. The Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors, RIGS. Africa Panorama Investment Group Limited, Emerald Hill Developers. The South African Council for the Property Valuers Profession, SAC-PVP. Academy of Construction and Real Estate, and the International Finance Corporation, IFC, Edge Group. Thank you all for responding when we sought. Not forgetting the International Real Estate Society, our mother body. Thank you for your support and encouragement. Dr. Emmanuel Gabu, thank you for handling the scientific aspects and for being my sounding board. To the organizing assistants, my students, Rumbi Taravinga, Afezeki Lemoko, Tonano Lekani, Tobile Ntombela, Suma Mwaitenda, and my postdoc fellow, Dr. Jonathan Oladich, and all who contributed to making this conference take place. The designers, technical team, printers, the hotels, we are grateful for the part you played. To the newly instituted Conference Board Committee, your inputs significantly helped. Thank you. To the keynote speakers, guest speakers, panelists, moderators, session chairs, masters of ceremony, paper authors, and all the delegates, we are grateful for your support, contribution, and commitment. To all who provided support, words of encouragement, critique, and praise, I am grateful. I hope that we are enriched at the end of this conference. I wish you all a travel-worthy experience in Livingstone. Welcome to Amutambula, Mulibwanji, Nono, Akwaba, Bikome, Karibuni. Bienvenue. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you're well aware, we are also joined by our colleagues from the Francophone speaking countries, and I think it's just fair to have a welcome address in the French language. And it is my honor to welcome onto the podium Engineer Bonaventure from Golden Equity Rwanda as he gives us the welcome address in French. Monsieur, bienvenue.
Merci beaucoup. J'ai été introduit comme ingénieur Mounyabudingo Bonaventure. Je suis ici pour la francophonie dans l'immobilier. Alors je vais faire mon adresse en français et les autres pouvez suivre et l'anglais. Ceux qui ne peuvent pas suivre ma voix, ils peuvent suivre en anglais. C'est un honneur que je me tiens ici et c'est pour la toute première fois quand je parle pour un accueil à la conférence de l'Association africaine pour l'immobilier. Et donc, permettez-moi de vous saluer tous au nom du comité et au nom de moi-même. Et bienvenue à Livingstone. Quand on salue, on dit Muribuino. Un grand bonjour. C'est un grand honneur que je me tiens ici et c'est un plaisir immesurable de me tenir devant vous, devant cette auguste assemblée, pour officiellement prendre partie à un moment d'accueil à notre aimable conférence annuelle qui se tient ici pour la 23e fois dans la belle ville de Livingstone. Ceci est le fruit d'un partenariat affermi entre l'association Afres et l'IRBS Foundation. Je peux rappeler, et hier je rappelais le professeur Karl Wan Schuller, quand en Afrique du Sud, c'était en 2017, il avait posé une question à l'Assemblée comme celle-ci: pourquoi est-ce que les conférences semblent être dédiées tout simplement aux anglophones alors que l'Afrique est large et il y a les francophones? Donc, c'est là que l'idée est née et c'est là que l'ordre des évaluateurs de biens immobiliers au Rwanda, it is well known as the Institute of Real Property Valuers in Rwanda, took the lead and we said, we are here as Rwanda, we speak French and we speak English, why don't we take our brothers and we call them back home, les francophones. Donc, et aujourd'hui nous avons ici Monsieur Adama Sarr, le maire from Dakar. Tu peux te tenir debout, s'il te plaît? Adama Sarr. Et je vous annonce qu'il est prêt à nous accueillir à Dakar un jour, mais pas très loin. Le projet ici, élucidé, se tient pour ramener ensemble tous les opérateurs du secteur immobilier en Afrique entière, que ce soit les académiciens, les professionnels, les investisseurs, ainsi que les agents gouvernementaux, et tout ça pour une meilleure intégration dans une Afrique unie et dans le marché commun de l'Afrique, le AFCFTA. Vous savez tous qu'on chemine vers là et on n'a pas de choix, on doit être là. Nous accueillons tous les autres francophones qui sont ici présents et nous louons les efforts fournis par différents partenaires et plus particulièrement notre président aujourd'hui, le docteur Adekunle Aolaja, qui fait tous ces efforts, je ne peux pas mesurer, pour avancer ce projet vers l'avant et nous croyons que tous ensemble, nous y arriverons. Nous souhaitons une bonne conférence et une productive conférence à vous tous. Je vous remercie.
As we move along, the next speaker, in terms of Afres, who says the big boss, is Dr. Kungla Olaja, Afres president. He's an esteemed valuer, like myself. That's why I don't want to read it. And he was the chief valuer for the local government of Lagos. So that part I'm not reading. Dr. Kungle is the president of Afres, and he's a state valuation office in Lagos, the director, and a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Estate. It's called NICEV. NICEV. I always have to be corrected. Yeah, no, it's NICEV. The Nigerian Estate of Surveyors and Valuers is a registered member of the Estate Valuers and is registered with the Valuation Board and a fellow of the Institute of Management Consultants and Nigerian Institute of Management. Dr. Kungle, we've known each other for a very long time. Welcome. If you can open the welcome address.
Thank you. My job is simple. is to welcome all of us to Livingstone, Zambia. And I believe we've been enjoying it all. We are here, and you all believe me that we are very close to nation. Do you agree with me? We are very close to nation. I think for the first time in my life, I saw a live elephant. And by the time we came, just 2 nights ago, we couldn't even approach Radisson Blue because an elephant was right on the road. But be that as it may, let me welcome us all to this conference. Afres, I don't want to say so much because that has been done by Professor Choma Okoro. She has been an excellent organizer. And I think she needs special commendation. Can I have you standing? Oh, she's still organizing. She's still organizing. That's her. Afres is a continental-wide organization, and we are tied to the International Real Estate Society. And for all our partners, they have been doing so well for us, especially Professor Shute. He's been involved in Afres from the beginning. Thank you. Stand up for recognition. Also, Professor Emondesi. I want to thank all board members, because we made it possible since my inauguration in Nairobi, Kenya. And we've actually come a long way in making and ensuring that Afres is expanding. Just before I came on here, we had the Francophone project, which was spearheaded by Professor Francois Ferruli, a past president of Afres, and also a past president of the International Real Estate Society. You are well recognized, Professor Ferruli. Bonaventure, thank you for steering up the ship. And Mayor Adamasa. Oh, you still? Oh, my brother, thank you. Thank you. We also, in this little time of 1 year, we have been able to incorporate the Caribbean into the Afres project. And you know the Caribbean is in Central America, but we've been able to get them in, and very soon we'll be having an Afres conference in the Caribbean. But without much ado, Afres is moving. And it's no thanks to anybody, but all of us here. I'm not going to say so much, but to say thank you for all of us. Thank you for the organizers. Thank you for keeping up the flag. And Afres, we keep moving. Thank you, and God bless.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are moving straight to our first keynote address, and we will be discussing the topic, the real estate landscape and activities in Zambia. I am really looking forward to this conversation and this address. And which better person to take us through this very first keynote address? Ladies and gentlemen, he is the director of Lusaka campus at the Copperbelt University in Zambia. He is a visiting associate professor in the Department of Finance and Investment Management at the University of Joburg. He has been the dean of the School of the Built Environment for the past 8 years. Now he is the chairperson of the Valuation Surveyors Registration Board, now the Zambia Institute of Valuation Surveyors, ZIFS, the Afres president from 2022 to 2023, and the chairperson of Mukuba Pension Trust. He holds a BSc in Land Economy from the Copperbelt University and an MPhil in Land Economy from the University of Cambridge, and a PhD in the construction practice for the past 31 years as an academic, a researcher, and a practitioner. He is a fellow of the Cambridge Commonwealth Society and the director of the Quest Real Estate Services Limited, a real estate consultant firm. He has published in journals including Land Use Policy, Habitat International, Asian and African Studies, Agrarian South, and others. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome our first keynote speaker in the person of Professor Afres Munshifwa.
Thank you very much and good morning. Allow me to just recognize certain individuals who are here. Obviously the president of Afres, the president of ZIVS, Mr. Christopher Mlenga, representatives from the various organizations, my deputy vice chancellor here present, Professor Paul Chisale. I should mention that CB is represented at a very high level. Thank you, Professor, for being here. And of course, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. So this morning, I'm going to talk about a brief overview of the real estate landscape in Zambia. So what I'm doing is I'm really just giving an overview so that colleagues who are coming from outside the country will be able to appreciate what we've gone through within this particular country. So I talk a little bit about, cover a period of maybe 30 years in terms of just perspective, where we're coming from and where we are today. Many of us from Zambia know that the defining moment for us in terms of economic management and economic processes was around 1991, when we changed from a more socialist, communist kind of orientation to a capitalist, privatized economic system of doing things. And that's why a lot of things changed. But also, that's why the real estate then sector starts seeing certain experiences which are different. So as we move through my presentation this morning then, when we look at the last 30 years in this country, we've actually had a lot of structural changes done within our economy, which have obviously affected the real estate sector. But even as we are now at 60 years as a country, 60 years, I have a lot of my graduates here, so you pardon me sometimes when I refer to them as young ones. There are very few that will talk about 60 years here. I am almost 63 years, although maybe I look older or younger, I don't know. Yeah, so even as a country, as we clock 60 years, we still remain with the basic problems. And I think those are the ones we also talk about later on. So quickly, as a country, in terms of statistics, Zambia, in terms of land coverage, is about 752,000 square kilometers. In terms of estimates or projections, we're sitting maybe around 21 million in number. In terms of population density, we are around 28 persons of people per square kilometer, which obviously, if you see the statistics, we've moved from 2000. So there's concentration, there's growth in terms of numbers and concentration. And obviously, this has an implication on our part as real estate professionals in this particular sector. So, growth areas then, over time, commercial city scale. We see a lot of money having gone into this particular area, commercial development. We've seen a lot of retail developments that have come up. especially if we focus on Lusaka. Lusaka has transformed in the last 30 years. If you did come then, probably you would not find any of what we call now shopping malls, although sometimes we misuse the term. But you've seen from the 30 years, or over the 30 years, we have these multiple nuclei kind of patterns that Lusaka has undergone. Students of land and urban economics understand that. I think my graduates should. If they don't, then I failed to teach. So we've seen, for instance, from 1999, the development of now what we call Manda Hill shopping mall. Of course, it was much smaller than what it is now because there was some expansion, which in 2010, which cost around $80 million in there. We have arcades also coming up as a second, about 18,400 square meters of space there around 2016. The expansion, was done around 2016. It was built around 03 there. This is from Wikipedia. We see a number of other shopping malls there mentioned, and the sizes in terms of land coverage or square meterage. We've seen also other developments like Levy Business Park there, just in the middle of town, or near the town center there, with at least 3 major developments there: the shopping mall, Easy Stay Hotel there, and of course the NAPSA headquarters there. These are all developments we're seeing. Recently we have Levy Business Mall there sitting on University of Zambia land under that partnership agreement. Sorry, East Park Mall is the one sitting on that. Levy Mall estimated to have 94,000 square meters there, opened around 2021 there, and was estimated to cost $200 million. East Park about $110 million. Most of these have gone into second phases in terms of development. Some of these were estimates at the beginning, and I'm sure on completion they could have eaten a little bit more than that. Long Acres Mall, again in Lusaka. We also see Novera Pinnacle malls appearing all over. So if you go into Lusaka now, these are the kind of, this is just a short list of what you see there. A lot of other shopping malls. And one of the things we also see in Lusaka happening a lot is filling stations, in which are every 100 meters, various names, which we didn't know before. Yeah, so we've seen a lot of development. So obviously that's money going into the commercial development. We've also seen office suites coming up. This is around Addis Ababa Drive, where we had a recent commissioning of a feature. I don't know what to call it, but it's a feature. But we've seen developments along Addis Ababa roundabout, Thabo Mbeki Road. Yeah, there it is. That's Standard Chartered. I don't know what name they've given it. I think the colleagues are here from Standard Chartered will tell us. But one of the things we've also seen is the appearance of multi-facility economic zones, which is obviously public sector-led. We have in Lusaka, the Lusaka South multi-facility. We have in Chambishi there also. These are things that have grown, I think, over the same years. In the residential market, or residential subsector, we all understand that, in fact, in terms of land coverage, the residential area is usually the bigger part in terms of land coverage. It makes sense because that's where we live. In fact, COVID showed us that when we close all the shops, we are going to end up in houses, isn't it? So that is important. So we've obviously seen a lot of growth even in that area, both in terms of densification in the old areas, and of course, spatially, growing out from the center, from the CBD. One of the areas we don't talk about a lot is students' accommodation and the market that is there. As universities, obviously, we recognize quite early that we cannot be able to house all the students in our campuses. Now, what that means is it creates a space then for those who can put up this accommodation, because that's what we've seen elsewhere. Of course, as Zambia, for instance, Copperbelt University, I think we are sitting maybe around 13,000 students there. We can't accommodate all those, but there are universities across the world with 70,000 students. They're not going to have them on campus. So that creates a market, and there's been a number of conferences, I think I saw in South Africa on students' housing markets and all. We're seeing a lot of boarding houses around the universities in Lusaka, in Copperbelt, in Dora. So that's another market that maybe later we'll talk about. In terms of market activities, we've obviously from 1991 seen increased activities and transactions related to land. In the recent years, I think many of us Zambians have read reports by the Financial Intelligence Center, and we are seeing how monies have been going into these real estate transactions. But also for colleagues coming from outside, 1991 is a pivotal year for us, because that's a year also that, in fact, estate agents was allowed to operate in the country. Remember, from 1975, there was a ban on estate agency activities. So obviously that limits transactions. We focused more on providing rental housing, but even this housing was mainly by the party at the time. The young ones, you can ask me later which party it was. And then obviously we had the local authorities, state-owned enterprises providing this land, these rental units at the time. So with the freeing of the market after 1991, obviously we start seeing a number of transactions in land. We also see increases in rental properties by the private sector. I know many of my colleagues here have units put on rent, so they can agree with what I'm saying. We've seen more private sector-led provision of land. Again, the land tenure system in this country is that land is vested in the president or in the presidents, as it were, and then all the other administrators in that land are just subject to that, or they have delegated authority from the president. So it means that effectively it's the public sector that is supposed to provide development land. But what has happened again over the 30 years is that, of course, we've run out of land in the major areas. So which means that the private then comes in, the private sector then comes in to try and assist. And we're seeing this emergence of land markets, especially by acquiring land from customary areas, adjoining customary areas, subdividing and then selling. So that picture there is showing us that even traditional land, which by law should not be sold, in nowadays it's going through the market. We've also seen emergence of housing estates and gated communities. Obviously, one of the things that then start happening if you're having foreign money or foreign capital coming in the system is because investors want to get their return. And because of the weakness of our currency, we start seeing the dollarization of the market. Because if you did bring in $80 million, you want to take out 80 million plus interest, isn't it? Now, if the currency is weak, then it becomes a problem. So we've seen rentals pegged in US dollars, and we've struggled with this issue. Even recently it came up. I don't think it has died, but I'm sure as we read the papers, we know it. So as I get towards the end of my discussion then, I'm just saying, what are the biggest challenges then that we face as African cities towards developing these smart cities? We are going to hear a lot of technology, a lot of research, like I said, which has gone into this area. From where I stand, not on this platform, but in terms of thoughts, is that the housing deficits and affordability challenges remain a big problem towards achieving a lot of things that we want to achieve. We have a big group of people in our cities whose income is not able to support certain things that we want to do. Most governments want to obviously provide decent and affordable housing, but as we will find out even in the discussion here, affordability is a moving target, and it's very difficult to put down. So as Zambia, officially we say we have 1.5 million housing deficits. If you whisper to a few others, they'll tell you it's around 2.5 million. As a country, our stock is at 2.5 million. So essentially, to overcome our housing deficit, we need to build another Zambia. That's a challenge, isn't it? Yeah, so as I look at, my last slide there, what I'm saying is, in fact, our challenges go down this so-called housing value chain. If you look through the whole process of provision of housing, assemblage, titling, and all that, there are all these challenges that we have to deal with as property professionals. And that's what we need to be thinking, even as we look at creating these cities of the 21st century. Thank you.
Prof, before you get off the stage, there's a small gift that you need to be awarded. As a thank you note, round of applause for Prof. Afres. Thank you very much. Where's the cameraman? Oh, it's you. All right. Thank you, Prof. Beautiful presentation. Beautiful presentation. We've got our next keynote by Professor Osana Tunomurinzi. He's going to speak about smart application in real estate development. Professor Tunomurinzi is a Vice Dean of Research and Innovation and Internationalization at the College of Business and Economics at the University of Johannesburg. He is a C2 NRF, and I suspect this is a South African NRF. Yeah, it's a research rankings in South Africa. NRF ranked, rated researcher and a 4IR professor. He's also a visiting professor in Sudan University of Science and Technology in Khartoum. He holds a BSc Honors in Mathematics, a Master's in IT, a Master's MSc in Electrical and Computer Engineering, and a PhD in IT, Information Technology. He's a co-founder and a past head of the Center of Applied Data Science at the UJ, and he's an associate editor of the African Journal of Information and Communication. We must recruit you to the journal. There's a journal there. Where's Francois and the other crew? So yeah, we'll see what happens. He's spearheaded the National ICT Research Project, conducted contract research across diverse sectors in the military, government, non-profit, and it's on a working group to create a South African national AI strategy, and has extensive senior management and executive experience from England, Swaziland, Uganda, and South Africa. His research interest, I can do auctions in data and digital science. Welcome.
I'm primarily a technologist, so I will focus much more on the technology aspect, because technology is now almost the underbed of everything that we're doing, so that's going to be primarily my focus. So a special thank you to the representative of the guest of honor, the Afres President, Dr. Kunle Awolaja, of course, Chrissy Mulenga, thank you very much, and all the distinguished guests. All right, so I'm going to focus mainly on smart technologies in real estate. So real estate is primarily being transformed by AI, blockchain, and Internet of Things, and there are many other technologies, especially generative AI, which is now fairly common. And I do remember an example in South Africa, where I live, of course. There was a huge building, a new building, which was being sold, and the main thing that they sold was green technologies and also to be sustainable. A lot of technology, fingerprint innovations. So they sold the smartness about it. But of course, at the end of the day, when eventually the building was completed, all the technology was not there. And what fascinated me the most is that the biggest, the largest group of people who bought into that building were Generation Z. So by a show of hands, let me see how many people are below 30. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. Okay. So only we have only about 7 people who are below 30. And do you know the average age in Zambia today? A quick guess. 17.6. This means that in the next 5 years, these guys can actually change government. And Generation Z think completely different. Have you noticed that? They grew up on technology. Sometimes we don't even get what they're talking about. They just think completely different. So I've got 2 teenagers, and they tell me, Papa, you're old school, man. Hey, we're moving on. So these technologies are offering unprecedented opportunities for creating value. So sometimes as practitioners, we tend to target a market that we see and understand. But if you look at Africa's population, and Africa's population, by the way, the average age is 19.7. That's the whole of Africa. This is one of the reasons Africa is such a powerful and emerging dynamic market. You can see what they are doing to President Ruto, right? They are not going away. The average age in Kenya is, from what I last saw, was around 21 years of age. And these are the people who are instigating change. So I want to talk about AI in real estate. So AI, artificial intelligence, is briefly, I'm sure everyone is now, ever since ChatGPT, everyone kind of has an idea what AI is, right? Pretty much. So AI is ability to predict patterns and make decisions based on the predictions, generally speaking. So we can now use AI to predict and understand property valuations, what this will look like in terms of the market, do forecasting, and AI-driven models are able to help you understand what will happen in the future. So depending even on the AI models, you can determine, you can also put in so many factors. So Zillow is one of those very popular property technologies which is able to provide real-time property estimates. How many of you are familiar with Zillow? Do you have something familiar like that in Zambia? And these are some of the opportunities that we have in Africa to be able to predict different markets. And for example, if the patterns of the markets are changing, AI can help you to understand exactly what should we do next going forward. And today we can also have smart-enabled buildings. Some of you are already using things like in your homes. Some of you have invested in Alexa, in Siri, and you can tell her what to do, switch on the lights. You can be sitting right here and knowing exactly what's going on in your room, in your house, and monitoring everything. You can manage your lighting, your heating. The cost of electricity is almost insane today. And so by enabling and putting in these smart technologies, we can actually become even much more sustainable. And one of the things as human beings that we love is certainty. So once we implement these IoTs, Internet of Things, into buildings, it actually makes these buildings even much more attractive. So you can imagine on a real estate scale, if you're looking at huge and entire smart cities, and IoTs are not very expensive gadgets. They're really small, easy to implement. You can get a small sensor for as little as 30 cents of a dollar. So you can imagine this is scalable. If supermarkets, the big supermarkets like Tesla, can have an IoT device on each and every product, you can imagine what you can do in terms of real estate. Another technology is blockchain. One of the best things about blockchain is the ability to not only have security, but also transparency, which means that you can actually execute on a transaction without being present and knowing exactly this is what is going to happen. So the beauty of blockchain is that it's very secure. Of course, it comes with a huge cost in terms of implementation. If you don't have enough skills, But countries like Sweden and Georgia have already implemented blockchain. I know Rwanda is trying to do something in blockchain on their land systems. The advantage of blockchain is that everyone can see what everyone else is doing, well, depending on the way you implement it. What this means is that if you buy a piece of land, you know exactly who is buying, who is selling, the process it went through, and I'll talk a bit later about some of the challenges that we face. I come from a country, originally Uganda, where you can have 5 land titles. Okay, please don't pick up this one. I may be in trouble. You can sell a piece of land, you buy it, and 2 months later someone else comes with the same piece of land title, and then you're like, so who is the real owner? So that can become a huge challenge, and it's one of the prevailing issues that we still have in some other African countries. And I've got a PhD student who's working on a blockchain which is contextualized around Sudan. Now remember, every country has its own unique contexts. Sudan is primarily Sharia based, so to implement a blockchain also depends on the context. Like you said, I think previous keynote, Zambia, all the land is vested to the president. So if you create a blockchain, it would be contextualized to that kind of situation. So it is possible. But one of the challenges that she was told by the people in the land registration office was that we'll make sure this never happens because you can imagine why. I want to answer that one. So it also helps with ethical governance because then you can embed within your blockchain whatever ethics you want to impose upon a society. And one of the best things about having a fair process is that you can understand what the market will be like. You can therefore predict, because some of the cases that we have, like we saw previously, you can have a small piece of land going for a huge amount of money, and you ask yourself, how was this thing valued? How did we come to this price here? But once you understand it from a larger perspective, it usually makes things much better. So let me talk about our pressing challenges. So we've got a very youthful population. Like you said, we need to double the Zambia in order to just accommodate what we have. So it's not just a Zambian problem, it's a typical African problem. The youth are just, I think we're producing, we're very fertile, right? Okay? Which is a good thing. It's a good thing, but then it means that they need to stay somewhere. So this is a pressing issue, and I think it's a massive opportunity that is untapped. We also unfortunately have a widening wealth gap. What this means is that the rich are getting richer, the poorer are getting poorer. And I was listening to an economist about 2 weeks ago, and he was telling me how there are more people in Africa surviving, is the word surviving, on 1 million, depending on the currency, in any country today than we did a year ago. So if you've got $1, previously it fed, say, 10 people. Right now it's feeding 20 people. So the Gini coefficient is a bit deceptive. But the issue here is we've got a widening wealth gap. And what happens if the younger generation gets poorer and poorer? We've got a problem. It's not sustainable. So even looking at our audience today, the question is if our markets, if the people who are listening are not above 30, how are we actually targeting the next generation? And that's where I think the issues will be. We still have a challenge with governance and corruption, unfortunately. And this has to be dealt with. Otherwise, investors kind of shy away from investing. It also hinders real estate investment, discourages foreign investment, and also there's greater inequality in land distribution. And then another reality which we cannot pretend, and Zambia has experienced it. I think you've experienced more floods lately over the last couple of years. And the whole of Africa, we're seeing more extreme weather patterns. So how do we invest in real estate with such climate change issues? So in terms of opportunities, I think the youthful population are a massive opportunity, especially integrating technology into the real estate. These younger generation, they live in immersive experiences, they understand technology, they're very tech savvy, they are constantly on their phones. So having a building which is smart is going to be the future, whether we like it or not. There's opportunity, of course, because we come from a legacy. We don't have legacy systems. We can go straight into the most recent technological advancements. So that's an opportunity. Also affordable housing. You've seen 3D printing. Have you seen that before? Today you can actually 3D print an entire house within a couple of hours or a couple of days. And this is going to be the future in terms of climate change, in terms also of leveraging or not even wasting too much resources, of being sustainable. So green building is also going to be an opportunity, especially because of the youthful population coming into needing this housing. I suspect and I believe that there's an opportunity for real estate investment trusts, whereby small people who, because the rich get richer, they're very wealthy, so that the fewer people can also invest in real estate without owning too much. So if I can put in $20, I can still have a say in a huge investment. We can still democratize real estate investment. So one of the best advantages of democratizing anything is that everyone becomes a participant. It makes an economy much more stable because I don't want that economy to shake. So if I've got money in a building, I kind of want the economy to be safe. I think there's a great opportunity for spatial intelligence for smart cities in Africa. This has already been done in China. How many of you have heard of this place? Xiang'an, I think, a new area in China. The entire area is already AI. So when you go in, you're feeling the presence. If you've gone through Singapore immigration, depending on how you've registered, you can actually just walk through because they've got all these devices, iris recognition. So this spatial intelligence is a great opportunity for Africa because the technology exists, the skills exist as well, not perfectly, but I think we can leverage and create a lot of spatial intelligent smart cities. I think Africa can lead a global shift towards sustainable, smart, and inclusive real estate. In fact, not can, we must. We don't have a choice. We actually don't have a choice. So the question is, how do we begin that journey, or where do we start? We must also embrace AI, blockchain, and all these nice technologies which are on the market. Thank you very much.
So, Prof, thank you so much, and to acknowledge that we really, really appreciate your time and your expertise. We'll call on Afres President, Dr. Kunle Awolaja, to do the presentation of this thank you package to you. Thank you very much.